Come manifest your best life with 190 Vision.
My name is Ashley.
All right, Ashley, will you give us a little bit of background about yourself, what you do?
Sure. I am a teacher. I'm certified in elementary and middle school. For the last 2 years, I've taught 7th and 8th grade science, but this year I'm transitioning into 1st grade. I'm a mom of 2 kids, and let's see, I like to bake and read in my free time.
Thank you. Will you please share with us why you originally reached out to 190 Vision for help, like what your life was like before then, as to why you reached out?
Yeah, so we had moved into a new old house, and it had sat abandoned for about 3 years after the death of its previous owner. It was haunted, just absolutely. We had not experienced anything like that before. We had doors that would rattle, lights that would flash, a smoke alarm would go off at exactly the same time every single night. Radios would start playing on their own. We even had situations before we unboxed completely where we would find items that had been removed from a box and moved to a completely different location in the house, things we had not unpacked. So it was very obvious that something was going on, something supernatural. You know, the kids knew it, we knew it, even as adults. And so at first we just sort of reached out because it was like, you know, we're willing to try anything. Neither of us, my ex-husband and I, neither of us really had a religious background or anything, but we just wanted to see what was out there to help. So we reached out.
Okay. What happened then?
We started out with just a little bit of progress, like the house getting cleared through 190 Vision. And slowly but surely, things started to get better. We called back and forth several times. Things would get better, and then they'd get worse. Then we'd call back again. And it was weird because you could always tell when the spirit or another spirit had come back into the house, because the kids would start getting afraid, and they would say, you know, I don't want to go to my bedroom by myself. Will you walk down the hallway with me? And so I would reach out to 190 Vision. I'd say, hey, I think this is going on again. There would be another clearing. And then the kids would just magically, you know, not be afraid anymore. The next day they would stop asking me to walk with them, and we would stop, you know, having those occurrences happen. And eventually, I'm not really sure how long it took, a couple months maybe, it all finally just went away. It was gone. And we didn't have that occurrence again after it was finally done.
Okay. Do you remember the reason as to why they kept showing up, or different entities or energies kept showing up? If not, I can give you a hint.
Okay, give me a hint.
That hospital?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Church?
I had forgotten about that. Yes. Our house was located very close to a hospital, the only main hospital here in our town. And so we were less than a mile from it. And so we didn't discover that until later, though, that was why we kept getting so much energy at our house. And I believe Ken had even, you know, commented on how much, you know, activity we saw there. It was just an unusually high amount. So yeah.
Right. It actually made me wonder, what were your neighbors experiencing?
Right.
You know, and then I mentioned the church as well, because that you could literally, like, the end of the road there by you, like maybe half a block's distance, was a church.
Oh yeah, we would walk over to the church. You could literally stand in my yard and throw a stone and hit the parking lot of the church if you tried. So it was right there.
So one of the things I remember you sharing was about the toys. And
yes.
Electronic toys. Would you give some examples of what happened with the toys?
Yes. That one was maybe the scariest part of all of it. Maybe not the scariest, but my daughter got a toy called a fingerling, and it was supposed to clasp onto your finger. It looked like a unicorn, very cute, I guess pretty. You wouldn't think anything about this toy. And it started randomly going off by itself in the middle of the night. But what was really creepy is that you could get up and actually make sure the button was off. You could turn it off and it would still come on. So that's kind of traumatic for a child. It was traumatic for me as an adult. And so we reached out immediately with that one. And that toy had a possession. It was weird. And once we had that toy cleared, it didn't do that again. But we also, I think it is actually still here in this house, but I don't think it's been played with since. She was pretty afraid of it, but it doesn't go off in the middle of the night anymore. So.
All right. And then how about the instance with your dogs when they were outside, chained up?
Oh, yes. I had actually forgotten about that one. So we had 2 English bulldogs and 2 smaller dogs. We've always had a lot of animals, and at this point I didn't even realize that you could have animals cleared, or that they could have attachments and things like that. And one afternoon I went outside, and I would put them on tie outs, just so they could run around the yard and stuff. And it's a clicker type, like a plunger style clip that would go on the collar. You actually have to physically manipulate that to get it undone. And I always tried to space the dogs out where they wouldn't get tangled. So, and they were on very long tie outs, so there was some distance between them. And I came out to check on I think this actually happened 2 days in a row. One day the dog actually got loose, and the plunger was off of the neck, or off of the collar. And I think that was my little one, Scotchy. He was loose. But then the time that really stood out to me the most was that not only had the plunger obviously been released, but had been reconnected where the lines had crossed between them. And so they were all tangled up. And that's when I knew that this is something weird. This is something that this had to be intentionally done. And it was broad open daylight. The dogs bark when someone walks into the yard. So there was no human, that came and did that. But their lines had been crossed, crisscrossed, and then the dog reconnected to the collar. So I mean, that was some scary stuff right there. That told me that was not cool. I mean, that was dangerous to the dogs, and that took some serious energy to make that happen. So,
okay. Any other story that you want to share in regard to the haunting of the house?
There was a really bad one after my dad became ill. He had a blood clot. We think we don't really exactly know what happened, but we think it was a blood clot in his lung. He wound up in the hospital, and he was in a coma. They said that if he did wake up again, he would pretty much be in a vegetative state. He was not brain dead because he had some activity in the brain stem, but no higher functioning. And we had an Alexa. We still do. Had an Alexa plugged in, and every night, during this time that he was in the hospital, the Alexa would start playing scary music. Things from the first occurrence sounded like a Halloween tape, like something you might hear at a Halloween party or inside of a haunted house, like with the chains rattling and the wind blowing. The second time, I believe it was music like from Friday the 13th. And the most disturbing one, though, and I believe this is the final one. I had reached out to Ken a couple times about it, and this one was just so upsetting. I don't know what Ken did differently, but this was the last occurrence. A song played about a zombie being brain dead, and it was very clearly aimed at me. And up until that point, we had almost laughed it off because it was just so obvious. I mean, what kind of ghost makes, haunted house music? We almost thought it was funny and almost playful. And so no one was afraid. The kids would just say, "Oh, there's the ghost again, playing its haunted house music." But after that one, it felt more malicious, I guess. And so after that, we reached out to Ken that last time, and that went away as well. And we've not had any occurrence of that here in this house.
To hear the rest of this story, go to 190 Vision TV on Roku TV or Amazon Fire. Learn more about 190 Vision through one of the following methods. On YouTube and Spotify, there are numerous topics that are discussed that could apply to your life. Roku TV and Amazon Fire have actual experiences told by the individuals who received help through 190 Vision. To connect with others who are on a similar path as you, join our Facebook group. To receive help, go to our website, 190vision.com, then click on the Help Me tab to get started. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the Donate button, which is located at the bottom of each page of our website.